Hey guys, this is Nate from RunDreamAchieve.com. Hope you guys are all having a great week. Today's video I want to talk on how to run under a 2:20 marathon. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I've been asked so many times over the years how I broke 2 hours and 20 minutes. And anybody that's going after this particular time, I will tell you that you had better have done your homework, because I trained from 1992 when I first started running all the way to 2007 before I broke 2 hours and 20 minutes. So if you have a goal of running under 5 minutes and 20 seconds per mile, or I think it's around 3:12 or 3:13 per kilometer, you're going to have a long-term vision. Okay, so I lived, breathed, and thought about running pretty much my entire life. I started running when I was 15. I didn't break 2 hours and 20 minutes until I was 31 years old. So you definitely can do this, especially if you're an athlete that has broken, if you've run under 2 hours and 30 minutes, you have a very good shot at doing this. If you are under 3 hours, maybe you're in the 250s or 240s, it's still doable, okay? Prior to running 2:19:35, my personal best for the marathon was 2 hours, 40 minutes, and 2 seconds that I ran at the Chicago, or the Grandma's Marathon in 2007. I was going for a much faster time than that. I went out the first half in 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 31 seconds, and came back and ran an hour and 30 minutes for the second half. So my biggest issue is I just simply wasn't ready to run that fast that soon. I was still at 2:28 marathon pace through the 20-mile mark, and it was my last 10K of the Grandma's Marathon where I lost it. I was literally walking and jogging the last 10 kilometers of the race. I had set a personal best through the half marathon point at that particular time in my life. And so I was going for breaking 2 hours and 20 minutes. It was one of my first races for the World Class Athlete Program out of U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program out of Fort Carson. Prior to that race, I had a 51:53 10-mile personal best. So I had the potential. So I understand how complex this is. If you're going for a sub 2:20 marathon, you better have a high expectation of what is required out of you. Do accept and expect that it's going to be, you're going to have some ups and downs. Like I said, I didn't just break 2 hours and 20 minutes. I had to make significant changes in the way I was preparing for my races. My first marathon was in 2002 as a part of an Armed Forces charity team. We started in last place of the 2002 New York City Marathon. Weren't allowed to start the race until every runner had crossed the start line. And for every runner we passed, Chase Manhattan Bank was donating $1 to lung cancer research. So I had no background with marathoning prior to that. I ended up finishing as the team's top finisher in 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 36 seconds. That was my debut. It took me from 2002 to Grandma's to run from 2:43:36 to 2:40:02. So I was definitely preparing to run under that 2:22 marathon barrier. I set a personal best of 1:07:06 a few months after that 2:40:02. So that only reminded me of what I was capable of doing and what I needed to still do in the marathon distance. So if you're trying to break 2 hours and 20 minutes, you cannot just spend every single weekend running long, slow distance runs. It's really a pace sustainment problem that athletes that are trying to break 2 hours and 20 minutes are having. A lot of times, athletes can hold sub 2:20 marathon pace for a certain segment of the race, but for some, it's either psychological, it could be something physical. You simply haven't spent enough time training well below 5:20 marathon pace. I think it's very important that, again, I stress this in all the videos, and I'm going to continue to remind anybody that comes to this channel that, especially if you're trying to run under 2 hours and 20 minutes, your long run is where you make your money. Okay, the long run, without question, was the hardest workout I did to break 2 hours and 20 minutes. It wasn't mile repeats. I was doing at my fittest prior to breaking 2:20. I was able to do 6 1-mile repetitions on the track at altitude in Colorado Springs between 4:44 and 4:48 per repetition, with a 2-minute rest in between. So I was very anaerobically fit. And I stress this too, if you're trying to break 2 hours and 20 minutes, you need to get to a point where you can branch that tempo run out to around 15 miles. Get to a point where you can run at your anaerobic threshold up to around 15 miles or around 25 kilometers at that AT pace, because it's going to be it's going to make you, one, very efficient at being able to clear lactic acid faster than it's building up. You want to make sure you're minimizing lower levels of lactic acid at race pace, and you're going to need to do that in breaking 220. You have to continue to develop on your speed. I was doing very fast repeat Ks on the track, around 10 times 1K repetitions, around 250 to 253 per rep, with around 60 seconds rest in between each. I remember doing I definitely remember this workout prior to breaking 220. I did 3 2-mile repetitions on the track with a 5-minute rest in 9:52, 9:55, and 10:01. I remember that was a workout I did around 4 to 5 weeks out from the 2007 California International Marathon when I broke 220. I finished 4th place, top American, in 2:19:35. So the reason why I'm making this video is just to kind of give you an indication of some of the types of workouts you really need to be thinking about. You need to spend time training well under 5-minute mile pace. Repeat miles, repeat 2 miles under 5-minute mile pace, preferably around in the 440s to 450s per mile, and around 450s, mid 450 pace for repeat 2 miles on the track or on the roads. I always, and I put this in all of my running courses as well as my training programs, every 3 weeks, having a recovery week where you drop the volume down, but the intensity still stays the same. As you get fitter, you want to make sure your intensity goes up, but your recovery goes down, because in a marathon race or in any distance, any race distance, you're not going to have any breaks in a race. And you got to be mentally tough up here too. Mental training is absolutely essential if you're trying to break 2 hours and 20 minutes. You had better be visualizing success routinely on a daily basis, spending preferably, what I would do is in the mornings I would spend a few minutes before I got up visualizing myself breaking 2 hours and 20 minutes. I would see myself getting across the finish line with 2:59 or 2:19:59 on the clock or faster, hearing people screaming, coming in 2:19:12, 2:19:13, 2:19:14, and sure enough, that is exactly what happened in Sacramento. I knew I was ready to do it. I knew that in the past my mistakes was not drinking enough in the race. I was really skimping on this. I would grab a few Dixie cups worrying about if I slowed down a little bit. If you want to break 2 hours and 20 minutes, you cannot neglect this piece. If you're not practicing hydration in training and not willing to make the mistakes in training first, your chances of breaking 2 hours and 20 minutes are slim. This is a very difficult time. I was fortunate to get it right. In 2007, there were only 62 men in the entire country of the United States of America. Out of 350 million people, 62 men broke 220 that year. So I do take a lot of pride in the fact that I did that, but it was also, it came on after a lot of setbacks and a lot of trials along the way, and many, many years of putting in the heavy mileage, training in every types of weather condition you can think of: blizzards, high temperatures, rain, even sandstorms. I was training when I was in Kuwait in 2003 when I deployed to Kuwait many years ago, running races then. So if you're trying to break 2 hours and 20 minutes, what I'm doing now is creating a course specifically for athletes that want to run under this standard. It's not going to be definitely for athletes with a faint of heart. If you are 100% white hot, razor sharp focused, you want to become a sub 220 marathon specialist, this course is going to be for you. I have it on RunDreamAchieve.com. If you want to be the first to know about it when it launches, definitely sign up for on my email list. I'm going to be going into specifics in depth on exactly what I was doing, not only mentally training, some of the concepts, physiological training, the anaerobic types of workouts I was doing, more specifics. This is going to be for mainly athletes that are at a minimum that can run under 2 hours and 35 minutes. So if you're in that category, I definitely welcome the athletes that are sub 3 hour marathoners right now that want to break 2 hours and 20 minutes to definitely sign up when the course does launch. It's going to be a combination of video tutorials, and I'm going to go very into the weeds on this and end the course as well with a 16-week, 4-month block specifically set up for athletes that want to run 2:19:59 or faster for this distance. Again, anybody that's going for a sub 2:20 marathon, you're already highly accomplished. You do have an amount of genetic capability. Obviously, you do need that to run even under 3 hours. Even under 4 hours, you need some genetic talent. But you have to have an incredible amount of work ethic to run under 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm saying this from my own experience. I know how difficult it is to run this type of time, how many years it took me to do it. And even after running 2:19:35, I chased running under 2:19 flat, which is now, even now in 2021, it's the Olympic trials A standard time, the minimum time you need to run to qualify for the Olympic trials. So I spent a decade trying to improve upon that 2:19:35 I ran, and the closest I got was 2:26:42 at the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon. The finish would have been faster. I had to jump into Porta-John. I was with the leaders and had to jump into Porta-John around mile 17 or 18. Lost probably about 3 or 4 minutes. Is what it is. Again, no excuses. Okay, you accept the fact that if you cannot sustain the pace or if something happens in the race, it is what it is. Learn from it. Learn from your mistakes. I learned in that race the importance of making sure you're eating your breakfast preferably around 3 hours prior to the start of your marathon. Make sure you have plenty of time for your body to digest that food and to get rid of it, so that whether you're in the race, whether you're leading the race or behind, you do not lose time. Again, it doesn't matter how fast how many miles or how many kilometers you held the pace, the goal pace. It's where you finished at. Where were you at the finish line? Were you able to get the job done in the race? So I hope this video provides at least some insight of how to run a sub 2:20 marathon and what types of workouts you need to be doing, some of the mindset that you have to run a sub 2:20 marathon. It's a very competitive, difficult time to accomplish. I was fortunate that the stars aligned. I had a perfect taper. I had done the training. I did not let up when I had my setbacks, and that's the same with you. You cannot let up just because you have a bad race or you have a poor workout. If you're wanting to run under sub 2:20 marathon, your resolve has got to be just unbelievable. You have to be extremely tough mentally, extremely tough physically, and in great anaerobic physical shape. Sometimes you can do everything right and still not break 2 hours and 20 minutes. And I fully understand that. I've lived it and I understand what it takes. So that's what I'm putting into this course. So again, anybody that's wanting to break a 2:20 marathon, go to RunDreamAchieve.com, go under the courses tab. You'll see a sign up option for the sub 2:20 marathon bootcamp course that I'm creating right now. So hope you all have a great week of training. This applies to anybody, whether you're trying to break 5 hours for the marathon or you're trying to run under 50 minutes for the 10K. The same principles apply. Your mindset has got to be there. You have to be willing to put in the work nonstop for long periods of time to get great results in the middle to the long distance events. It's a matter of your tenacity, your motivation, your drive, your focus, how badly you want it. So I hope this video has been helpful for you all. Look forward to talking with you all in the next video. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or concerns, anything I can help you all out with. I love hearing from you all, so definitely continue to leave the comments. I appreciate your support. Giving this video a thumbs up helps the channel grow. And again, I appreciate all of you and what you're doing, regardless if you're a beginner or you're an advanced level athlete. You all have huge performances that are coming up in 2021 and into the future that I'm looking forward to hearing about, whether you're trying to break a 7-minute mile or you're trying to go under 4 hours for the marathon or even under sub 2:20. Definitely excited to hear about it. So hope you all continue to have success. I would look forward to talking to you all in the next video.